Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out. Let's get started. Our first one comes from American Volkswagen. Am I the beehole for being resentful of my husband's reflexive anger during our newborn's nighttime pumping and feeds? My 32-year-old female husband, a 35-year-old male, and I have a 3-week-old newborn. My milk supply has been low, so I've been pumping every 2 to 3 hours. The arrangement my husband and I agreed to was that he and I would both wake up for the first feeding/pump session, where he would go and feed the baby a bottle and I would focus on pumping. The issue is, my husband has insomnia, and I can't fall asleep easily. To mitigate this, I'll wear sleep headphones and will listen for the baby's cries when he's hungry. My husband's ask is for me to wake him up when this occurs, so that he can help and I can focus on pumping. However, when I do gently wake up my husband at the time he asked me to, it's like a knee-jerk reaction for him to be angry. He'll jerk, complain loudly that he just fell asleep minutes ago, slap the bed with his fist or open hand in anger, then stomp off to tend to the baby, after which he'll cool off, start singing, and put on his cute voice with the baby, and otherwise be okay. Meanwhile, I'm left feeling horrible, feeling guilty for waking him up, to the point where I don't want to wake him up, because I'd rather just take care of everything myself than deal with him being pissy. Last night, I told him how these outbursts make me feel and that I'm afraid to wake him up because of them. His response was that this reaction is a reflex, no different to how a knee pops up when it's struck with a hammer, and that I just need to accept that this is a response and it's an inevitability. Well, now it's 2 a.m. I wake him up, he does the same angry song and dance, and I go to pump. After he gets over his burst, he comes out positive and happy, trying to lightly joke about how this was really pissing me off and that I really couldn't get over it. Admittedly, I passively aggressively tell him that I'm over it, but maintain a shortness with him. He gets angry again, stating that of course, between the two of us, he's the one who can't get sleep, but I'm the one who's entitled to wear the angry bee face. He takes the baby to the bedroom and slams the door. After he's done feeding the baby, I tell him that I'm going to sleep outside for the night, and he asks me again to wake him up when the baby wakes up. He adds, verbatim, "Can you just ignore my being mad for the first 15 seconds after you wake me up? I've done a good job here, and I feel like I'm owed that. You just need to be a big girl." I feel resentful of the fact that the burden is on me to get over his outburst. However, I do also recognize that his outbursts are short-lived, and he's waking up to help me. During an otherwise difficult time where the both of us aren't getting sleep, he does do a great job of supporting us, and my emotional well-being during the rest of the day, so I may be the beehole for harboring this resentment. I need some outside perspective on whether he has a point and if I should extend him owed grace for his issue. I'm gonna go with you're not the beehole and your husband's kind of a beehole. I thought the story was going to be about your husband not wanting to help you, take care of your newborn child. And he is helping, but where he lost me and became a little bit of a beehole was when he told you to be a big girl. That's so condescending and ugh. Personally, it sounds like maybe you don't need his help. Stop waking him up because it sounds like it's causing you stress which you don't need. And I get it, it's tough waking up and being happy. I have that problem if I don't get my 40 winks. But he needs to figure out how to do this because he's starting to traumatize you, it sounds like. And our next one comes from Available Mix 2207. Am I the beehole for showing my mom the letter my sister wrote to me before she was deceased? I, a 16-year-old male, lost my sister, Birdie, last year. Birdie was 20 when she died. She had been diagnosed with cancer a year before her death. She knew she was dying, so she made a will for the very few things she had. It was mostly sentimental childhood stuff she had. Old stuffies, and she had a necklace that our dad bought her. Stuff like that. It wasn't a lot, but she left it all to me. She also wrote a letter to me before she died. But anyway, I was the only person who got anything from Birdie. She left our grandparents, paternal, in charge of everything until I'm 18 or until I'm out of mom's house. The problem with this is mom has other kids. Birdie and I lost our dad when we were both kids. Mom remarried. Neither of us really cared much for mom's husband, and when mom had more kids, we didn't feel the same about them as we did each other. Birdie was more vocal, while I didn't say anything. Mostly, I didn't want to fight with Mom over it, and I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But Bertie and Mom never really got along, and it was only worse after Dad died and then Mom remarried. The fact that Bertie left nothing for over half of our siblings and never wrote them a goodbye letter bothers Mom, and it really upsets them because they wanted to know why she wrote to me. It left me all of her stuff, but none to them. They also wanted to read the letter, but I said no. It became a fight with Mom. Then she wanted to know why Bertie left the rest of the family nothing, and why, even when she knew she was dying, she couldn't find a way to embrace the other kids, enough to give them something, a small goodbye. I showed Mom the letter because Bertie wrote a lot about her feelings and mentioned things she and I talked about when Mom wasn't around. I knew the letter would be a lot. Bertie said clearly she never loved or cared about the other kids at all, and wanted me to know that she didn't want them to have anything, but if I felt differently, if I ended up loving them one day and wanted to give them something of hers, that she wouldn't be mad. Mom read the whole thing twice, if not 3 times, then she asked me why I had shown her the letter, and what did I want to do with her. She was so mad she was shaking, and she told me I was to never show my half-siblings. And I pointed out I had said no to them reading it already. Nothing else was said that day. But then, Mom told me I was cruel for rubbing my sister's words in her face, and she wanted me to know she might never be able to forgive me for it. She told me forgiveness would be off the table if I ever breathed a word of this to her other kids. Am I the beehole? Hi, OP. I don't think you're the beehole. She asked for it, and she got an answer she did not like. Even then, that answer to her question wasn't yours. That was your sister's, Bertie's. Those are her words, not yours. And you know what? Those words probably hit her like a ton of bricks. But she shouldn't be taking it out on you. But I'll agree with your mom on one thing. Don't show that message to, that letter to your step-siblings. It's not their fault. Our next story comes from Ambitious Emotion 615. Am I the beehole because I won't buy food for my ex and our kids? My ex and I divorced when our kids were young. The kids are now 12 and 15. We have been divorced for 7 years now. We have 50-50 custody, and she's remarried, so spousal support is gone. Her new husband recently left her. I don't know, and I'm not interested in the particulars. In my opinion, he didn't seem like a terrible guy, and he left her their house. Once again, I have no idea of debt, loan, or anything like that. She called me last week to see if I could please help her out with some food. She said that she had run through her budget for food for her and the kids, and basically begged me to help her out. I asked her to give me a few minutes and I would call her back. I talked to my girlfriend, who lives with me, and we agree that we could spare some food. We have a freezer full of elk, venison, and wild hog, as well as a stock pantry. We also have beef, pork, and chicken. I called my ex back and told her to come by and pick up a big load of groceries. This is where it got weird. She said she didn't want groceries. She said she wanted me to give her money for Uber Eats or something. I said, no, I have 2 weeks worth of food that you can have, but I'm not giving you money for takeout. She called me a beehole for expecting her to be grateful for my scraps, that I was expecting her to be all domestic. Everything I was going to give her was either frozen meat, canned veggies, fresh vegetables from the garden, and pasta/rice in an open bags. I want my kids to eat well. Both of my kids hunt, and my son, the older one, is a pretty good cook. He regularly makes meals for me at my house. Both kids eat game meat as well as store. I honestly thought I was doing what she asked. I told my girlfriend not to bother packing up anything. I texted both kids and told them to let me know if they were actually going hungry, and I would take care of everything. Both kids texted back and said there was food in the house, it just needed to be prepared. Both of them also said that if I was willing to spare them the elk and hog roast, they would take them. I laughed and said I would take them over later. My ex is however telling everyone that I'm trying to manipulate her into behaving like a housewife and refusing to buy food for my kids. Some people are taking her side and saying that I'm a prick for not helping her out. 100% honestly, I don't think I'm in the wrong, but maybe I'm missing something. Hi OP, you are not the beehole. Your ex is the beehole, and I see why she's your ex. What is this nonsense trying to manipulate you into being domestic? You're not married to her, making her domestic. She's trying to gaslight you for sure, trying to do that whole, you want me to just stay home and cook. No, everyone should know how to cook. It's better for you and you can make food last longer that way. Also, she infuriates me. You have someone wanting to give you huge pounds of meat. You know how happy I'd be? I would love someone to just give me a giant, mass of meat. And also, Uber Eats, I never got this delivery nonsense at all. I think it's stupid and a waste of money. And again, fast food is not good for you. It's fun for every once in a while, but not every day. It sounds like she's someone who's lazy and doesn't want to get off her butt and make some food for her and your children. Also, you're being very generous and you're taking care of your kids. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Apparently, there are people talking crap about you in the comments. It's crazy how people go man bad, woman good. That is your ex. You don't owe her anything. All you have to do is take care of your children, which you are doing. So no, you are not in the wrong. You are not in the beehole. Do not let that woman gaslight you. Our next one comes from Refrigerator 1222. Am I the beehole for telling my mom if she wanted to help, she would do the one thing I'm asking? I'm a 20-year-old female. Myself and my 4-week-old daughter recently left an undesirable situation, and we have almost nothing. I have a handful of clothes for my daughter and some necessities. The place we are staying provides food but nothing else, and the charity available to me is very backed up at the moment. My mom is swearing she'll help me in any way possible. My daughter is growing out of her clothes. I only have one spare outfit and none of my necessities. I have asked my mom if her and my dad would be able to return to my house and get me a few bits of mine, including clothes for the both of us, some cash I had hidden, my iPad, which I use for college so I don't fall further behind and get kicked out, and my daughter's stroller and bassinet. My mom came up with a lot of excuses, such as she doesn't have time, or she's got plans every day for the next week, or my dad is working, but she does want to help. I've been really stressed over the last number of days, and I ended up lashing out at my mother. And I told her, shut up, because you keep telling me you want to help me, but if you really wanted to, you would do the one thing I'm asking and not just say you want to help like everyone else. She got really upset and said she was doing her best, which I replied, you're not doing anything. How is that your best? She's not speaking to me at the moment, and my dad is angry at me for snapping at my mom. He thinks I'm a beehole because she was trying to help me, and I lashed out at her over it. I'm really not sure how to feel right now because my head and hormones are all over the place. Am I the beehole? You are not the beehole. I agree with Zeal F. Prince in the comments. They share their story, which is related to this story, that their ex was not a nice person and their parents didn't know the whole story 2 years later, but they called their dad and they broke up with over text. The dad picked them up from work, took them back to the apartment, and wouldn't allow the ex anywhere near them, grabbed the essentials for the next few days, and both of her parents and her brother and her dad went to a friend, and the friend and their dad's friend helped her completely get all her stuff out 2 days later. That's what family does, because I know if my sister was in the same situation or brother was in the same situation, I would turn up and help them get everything they could get and have their back. That's what a good family member is supposed to do in this situation. Have your back and protect your family. Your mother and your father seem to be failing at that, so no, you are not the beehole. And our last one comes from So Ho Dun. Am I the beehole for outshining my sister-in-law's wedding by throwing an extravagant birthday party for my 5-year-old daughter the day after? Sister-in-law and most of her family is upset with me because of the recent situation. My brother got married with sister-in-law in a small church by our house. My daughter's birthday was the day right after, and it was perfect because all the family was in town anyways for the wedding. My husband is a surgeon, and he loves to spoil our daughters, and I love planning parties, so I booked a really nice garden venue and made it a Princess Carnival theme for all the kids and adults to enjoy together. It was a beautiful event, but towards the end of it, I got pulled into the bathroom where sister-in-law was upset and crying, saying a 5-year-old outshone her wedding. Then she got mad at me saying it was disrespectful to schedule the birthday party near her wedding time and not to talk to her about it. However, it's not like I can change the day my daughter's birthday falls on. And sister-in-law was invited to my daughter's birthday weeks in advance, so it's not like I dropped it on her last minute. I think it's pretty crazy she's getting jealous over a little girl. But quite a few family members are on her side and are saying I'm in the wrong. Am I the beehole? Hi, OP, you are not the beehole, and weddings are just so stupid to me. Why is she relating her wedding to a child's birthday? And like you said, you can't change your daughter's birthday. If I was in your situation, I'm not gonna go, oh, poor little baby, I can't give you a birthday because my sister-in-law had a wedding the day before. How freaking weird is that? How old is this woman? 5? She's throwing a tantrum over this? No one cares about your wedding but you. And it sounds like you had your wedding. It didn't sound like I would understand if someone came to mess up her wedding, like wore white and that sort of thing, but this isn't your wedding. This is a birthday. And if she didn't want your daughter's birthday to overshadow her wedding, I'm pretty sure she knows when your daughter's birthday is. Maybe don't have the wedding that day. But man, don't let that stuff phase you. Enjoy the little time you have with your child because we grow up quick. It sounds like your sister-in-law is a miserable person to be around. I feel bad for your brother. He's going to have a whole lifetime of dealing with that. And we've made it to the end of another video. Thank you so much for making it to the end with me. And like I said in the beginning, please like, comment, and subscribe. It will really and truly help the channel out. Velvet out.